everybody, it's Stewart A. Swerdlow.
And Janet Diane Moya Swerdlow.
And who you can see is finally back. And this is the Expansions News Podcast for the middle of June 2015. Halfway through the month.
Unbelievable.
Yes. And there's some interesting news that I'd like to share with you. And the first one, and please bear with me because this entire news story that I'm about to say to you is actually in Spanish, but I'm going to translate as best I can so that it makes sense.
But maybe just speak in Spanish.
Well, I would do that because, you know, I am fluent in Espanol. However, most of the audience is not, and they wouldn't appreciate it, except the ones who are Hispanic. Anyway, according to this news story from Chile, Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner, who is the president of Argentina, has apparently, if this is a true story, has apparently canceled Argentina's debt to the World Bank by ceding a vast area of Patagonia to, according to this, the Israeli World Jewish Community. So this could be a little bit of a, you know, maybe not a true story, but there are truth aspects to it. Apparently, the Argentinian part of Patagonia, which we were there, remember, with Ushuaia and all that area, is almost double the size of Spain. And this area also includes Chile, at the very southern part of South America. And it says that there is an American base there that rivals Area 51. Now, according to this story, there is a submarine base which is under control of other powers other than Chileans and Argentinians, which has the capacity to destroy submarines in both the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans. It also goes on to say that the base there, one of the bases is called Rockefeller. That's unusual, isn't it? Rockefeller base. Actually, it's called La Base Rockefeller de la Patagonia y Región de los Lagos y Sur de Chile y Argentina, which would translate to the Rockefeller base of the Patagonian region and the lakes of southern Chile and Argentina. And it is connected to an extensive network of underground tunnels and caverns that go across the globe. Now, it says, and this is interesting because what you were just in the Alps and you said that water was so good there. According to this story, the water in the Patagonian region is the most pure on the planet. Where have you heard that before? And the most flavorful. Now, that's what you just told me about Italy. Well, according to this story also, this region has military and scientific people from Israel working there and studying their technology and medicine of the local region and are trying to create, according to this, a new Israel. Now, it also goes on to say that Argentina has also signed commercial agreements with China and the Jewish community, which you may realize that Israel and China have a very close relationship. People don't realize that, but they do. And it also says in this area there are various Secret Service events going on, and that the Israeli army is working secretly with the Argentinian and Chilean armies for some unknown reason. And that the tunnels extend into vast areas of the Earth and into different continents.
Well, that doesn't really surprise me because when we were in Antarctica, we both felt that there were tunnels from here into Antarctica. So,
and not only that, but to give up a little bit of some actual certifiable information, the area that is being talked about here has been mentioned in Argentinian and Chilean conventional news as having issues with some Israeli backpackers and military people.
I remember, I think we
were
talked about
there.
that before.
So there is something going on down there. Any of you from Argentina and Chile who know more about this, please contact us at Expansions. But in connection to this, last Friday, Spain passed a law that says they will give citizenships to Jews who have Spanish origin.
That's interesting.
And a few months ago, Portugal also said they will give So something's going on between Portugal, Spain, and Israel. Now, back to the North America, to U.S. This past April, a Florida mother and father were not able to get home in time to take care of their 11-year-old son because they were stuck in traffic. And he was alone for 90 minutes, so he went in the backyard to play basketball. A neighbor called the cops, and when the parents arrived, they were arrested for negligence. Not only that, they were put in handcuffs, strip searched, fingerprinted, and held overnight in jail. And it was a month before they were able to see their 11-year-old and his 4-year-old brother before they were allowed home again. And the only reason they were allowed home is because the oldest kid begged the judge to give him back to his parents. And the judge agreed. The mother and the father were charged with a felony neglect, and the younger boy, again, had to be removed from the home. This is the law in Florida. Maybe it's national. A person who willfully or by culpable negligence neglects a child without causing great bodily harm, permanent disability, or permanent disfigurement to the child commits a felony of the 3rd degree. That makes absolutely no sense at all. There's no harm done. Now, the authorities claim he had no access to water or shelter, although there is a shed in the backyard with 2 working sinks and 2 hoses that was open to him. They said he had no food, but he had already eaten his snacks from his backpack. There was no bathroom, but the responding officer found it fine enough in the yard to urinate in their backyard, so the kid could have gone to the bathroom if he had to. The children were placed in foster care for 2 days until the state ran a background check on a relative who was willing to take them in. For the 2 days, all the children had to eat was cereal. Now that's abuse and neglect. And so that's what's going on in the U.S., people.
Well, remember, I just reported on that one story of the, remember we talked about that of the children who are walking home alone from the park?
Yeah. It's called free-range children.
Yeah. Well, those parents have been found not neglectful.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
Well, they didn't do any harmful thing to the child, but there was a potential for harm because you don't these days anywhere let a child walk alone.
Well, but they're saying that that's okay. But however, as a responsible parent, I would not let my child walk home.
Even my older children, I want to.
Well, we always kept our eye on our children and taught them how to, look around in their surroundings.
Now let's stay in the South. We were in Florida. Now let's go to Alabama.
Okay.
Now in Alabama, an earthquake struck an old plantation region one morning last November. It felt like a boom and everything was shaking. And since then, there have been, for the last 7 months, quite a number of earthquakes in this area in western Alabama. And in fact, there's been more seismic activity recently there than in the last 4 decades. There have been a total of 14 earthquakes since November 20th of last year. And scientists have installed seismic monitors to enable them to find out what's going on because they don't know. There's no fracking or fricking or anything else going on there. The quakes could be linked to underground cracks or faults found in the area in recent years at various depths. But what has been causing the ground to shake, they don't know. So they recommend, and I recommend that we all do, to get earthquake insurance. It's only $150 a year. And we're glad we have that because, as you know, Michigan recently had the 2nd largest earthquake in its history. And yesterday morning was another little earthquake at the state line. So things are shaking up, people. Let's go now to the Middle East.
That's a big jump.
I spoke, I believe, either last week or the week before about Israel and its connection to Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Were you here for that? Because there actually are secret agreements between all those countries. But you know what's going on in Syria with ISIS and all the attacks? And you know what the Druze are? The Arabs who are called the Druze? Not the Jews, but the Druze.
D-R-E-W?
D-R-U-Z-E.
I don't know about them.
There is a community of them. Their philosophy and religion includes elements of Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, and Buddhism. Now that's a New World religion.
It's a mix.
Right there. Yeah, and there's 700,000 of them in Syria, but they're being attacked because last week 20 members of Syria's Druze community were murdered by these Islamic jihadists. And they fear that ISIS and other jihadi militias in the Golan Heights and other parts of Syria that border Israel will attack them. Israel has over 130,000 Druze residents, and in Israel, the Druze community is well regarded. And in fact, it's speculation that Israel could move to aid Syria's Druze population since they have a very high status in the Jewish state. And according to the Druze leadership, they said, "We are the only non-Jewish minority that is drafted into the military, and we have a higher percentage in the combat units as officers than the Jewish members."
Have you heard of these people before?
Yeah, many times. And there's an Israeli Druze poet named Reda Mansour, who's currently Israel's ambassador to Brazil. And he said that they are considered a very nationalistic and patriotic community for Israel. And in fact, it was a Druze police officer, Zidan Saif, who fought and died trying to save the lives of 4 rabbis who were killed in a Jerusalem synagogue last November by Palestinian gunmen. And in an unprecedented move following the killings, the chief rabbi of the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community in Israel, from which they were the murdered rabbis, they insisted that a fleet of buses be commandeered to take the religious Jews to the Druze cemetery in the north in order to pay their respects to the Druze officer. Druze tradition encourages loyalty to whichever state offers them residency and allows them freedom to practice their religion. That's Jews also do that. Their religion stemmed from Islam, but is seen as a heresy by radical Islamists. There is an Israeli Druze member of the Israeli government named Ayub Kara, who said that the Israeli Druze community will defend its Syrian brethren, and we do not plan to sit idly by while our brothers are being slaughtered in Syria. So this is a way for Israel to get involved in Syrian issues. Now, let's go back to the United States. And this is a very private investigation that's not on the news. But as you know, and I've been mentioning this for a couple of years now, a lot of people are disappearing from public parks, national recreation areas, farms, etc. in broad daylight. And in fact, some of them disappeared within seconds of talking to people that they were with, right in front of them. And this is increasing around the world. And in fact, in some of the national parks in the U.S., the Green Berets were sent in to investigate. Now, why did they send the Green Berets in if it was just, pedophiles or people falling off of cliffs? So something's going on. So the information that I have, again, it's not on the news, is that there are a certain element of the Greys and Mantis beings who, in cloaked ships, are taking people with tractor beams, literally just kidnapping them. And according to this information, they're either eating them, experimenting on them, or using them for breeding.
I think that I had reported some time back about all the people disappearing in national parks.
Yes, right.
It was, like you said, it was a couple of years ago, so it's interesting follow-up on that one. I don't have a lot of news because, as you know, I was gone.
You were away, and I was so devastated.
Yeah, I can tell. But I do have a couple of interesting stories that I put together, so Ollie, we'll just proceed.
Go on.
And NASA, apparently, has found impact glass on Mars that may hold evidence of past life on Mars. I thought that's interesting. Apparently, there is similar material found on Earth that has produced a wealth of information about early life. So let's see what is going to happen next about Mars. So that part was interesting. Then Professor John Rogers has something called a biostamp, which means by attaching flexible miniature sensors to the user's temple, he has been able to track brain waves in real time and transmit them as messages. Quote, "Our prototypes can provide a variety of monitoring and stimulation functions. We can pick up coordinated firing of neurons and run that activity through a computer spelling interface. so that brain waves pick letters out of a virtual keyboard display and type messages, unquote. Apparently, before they had to have some kind of a heavy helmet, but now all that needs to happen is you put this patch on, apparently, and you can wear it for a long time as opposed to things in the past, and it eliminates background noises. And let's see what else. It says 2 immediate targets are 2 groundbreaking medical applications, because I always have to have something, that the people can justify it for. So the first is seizures and epileptic patients, and the second is for sleep pattern disorders. So it says, now this was the part that's most interesting. I'm going to quote this again. The history of electronics is about getting closer to the individual. At first, it was a computer down the hall, followed by a desktop, then a laptop, a phone in your pocket, and a watch on your wrist.
That's right.
Now it could be electronics integrated into the skin, bioelectronics, and fully implantable devices.
Right.
They say that this is just a prelude to full integration.
Borg.
So I found that interesting. And then Google is actually working on the same type of project. It's trying its hand, it says, at manufacturing high-tech fabrics and wearable electronics that you can actually wear. And the projects are called Project Jacquard and Project Soleil, which involves weaving electronics into fabrics and a gesture-based interface. So in other words, you wear this fabric and then you can touch it, and that allows you to turn on your lights, make phone calls.
Let's see if this will work.
Yeah. And apparently they've signed a contract with Levi Strauss. So that's going to be moving along.
You're going to have electrodes in your jeans.
Apparently so.
Be up your butt.
A lot of things.
And other places.
And then this news of Guadalajara, where
Guadalajara. I was just in Guadalajara.
Just word. Apparently there are Mexican teenagers who are in some kind of a dance contest,
Yeah,
and they produced that's not
dance, gringo, dance.
They produced a video showing them flaunting Nazi symbols.
Really?
Yes, in the choreography, young men and women appear wearing military uniforms and waving red flags.
In Mexico?
In Mexico.
No me diga.
The dance simulates a battle that peaks with the unfurling of a red and black swastika flag carried by 2 youths giving a Nazi salute.
Well, I just cannot believe that's in Mexico.
I know. Well, that's what we've talked about. They're Nazi all
Mexico.
over. And Uber, which I didn't write anything up about it, but I see Uber, I think, is going to go into China or something.
Oh, they're everywhere.
But Uber is, remember, I still believe that's a trigger word for people. So that's why that particular word is out there. And that, of course, is German. So that's why I'm bringing that up again.
So Uber be in China.
Yeah.
So how are they going to like, you get in car now, you go to Uber, you go now.
And then I wanted to talk about, this was interesting to me. This is a California entrepreneur who built a $1 billion bunker in a German village.
Again with the Germans.
Yep, in the event of an apocalypse. Survivors can live there a year without leaving. Now, there's no price on these apartments yet.
Oh, it's an apartment.
Well, it's down under the ground in a bunker. It's a huge area. Don't know if it says how big the area is, but anyway, it's a whole survival complex. It has swimming pools, theaters, gyms, restaurants, custom apartments, outdoor space, and helicopter service. And apparently it can...
Why would you need a helicopter on the ground?
Well, maybe it's so you can get them in and out.
That wouldn't go very high up, would it? That's pretty stupid.
I don't know. But anyway, it can withstand nuclear blasts, chemical agents, earthquakes, tsunamis, or another disaster. Now, what was interesting to me is they don't have the price of the individual people, but apparently they're going to accept you based upon your skills and, of course, your money.
Oh, you have to apply to
and your money. But this, again, is telling people that they have to be rich to be safe. And so you and I were just talking about this to our OMG group, about how everything is so fear-based.
And then, again, my other bottom line is, why would I want to go there and stay on the ground and survive and come up to what?
Well,
Nothing.
But people are so invested in the physical that they don't stop to think about what is happening with this.
No.
And again, I think it makes a lot of people feel like victims, that some people can be rescued, so to speak, and some can't.
All you need is a lot of vodka, and no matter what happens.
Okay, let's not go there. That's not appropriate.
I'm just saying.
So I wanted to just talk for a couple of minutes about my trip, because my trip was interesting, and when I talk about all these things that make people think they're victims because they don't have money to buy safety, what I want to emphasize to everybody is that really it's what's within you that makes you safe. It's not going into
pattern.
an underground bunker where you have to have $1 billion to go into it.
No.
Those people are buying into something that's not so pretty, even though on the outside it might seem that way. So anyway, when I was up in the mountains, which I really enjoyed, up as high as about 6,200 feet.
2,000 meters.
It was really amazing up there. There was clean air, there was clean water, the clear smells. I mean, it's just
Like
totally amazing. And the people there have to work together in order to survive. And so there's not a lot of infighting and things like that. I mean, people have family issues, as everybody does, but overall, in order to live, you have to help each other. The food was pure, and it just was just such a wonderful experience for me. And I wanted just to remind people that fear drives the animal mind, and that forces you to do what you want to do. And a place like where I was at, it really has to do, remember the power symbol is a symbol of the mountains, and that's where you really are close to God and close to who you are, and you're close to nature, and you realize that you're something greater than what every society wants to make you be. You're not just an animal. You have a higher mind. And the Waldensian people, of course, my descendants, did not let fear drive them.
Ancestors.
What did I say?
Descendants.
My descendants?
Yeah, you don't have them yet.
No, not yet. Well, I have descendants,
Well,
but anyway, but they're my ancestors, and they did not let fear drive them. They stood up against everything. They stood together, and they stood for their faith. And I think here that many people don't realize that they have Waldensian genetics, because the Waldensians actually traveled extensively in as they spread what they considered to be their gospel, which Stewart and I have talked about, that they are the original descendants from the apostles, and of course from the marriage of Christ and Jesus, and Mary. So anyway, there are lots of interesting things that I found out. I was just talking to our OMG group about it. We'll be discussing this in our October conference.
Yeah.
But overall, I want you to remember is not to buy into the fear, not to buy into the animal mind, that everything that's going on out there that Stewart and I talked to you about, you don't have to have a matching mind pattern. You don't have to participate. And you're much better than what they want you to be. So don't buy into that. So with that said, I'd like to just remind you of some of our upcoming events. We have in June our Father-Son webinar coming up. We did make a date change, so you want to check.
Hopefully we won't have to change it again.
Yeah, we've got some more things in the works, so that's a possibility, but we will move forward with that because it's important follow-up to our Mother Earth, our Birth Mother, Earth Mother webinar, which is now available on pay-per-view.
Right.
A lot of people have been getting that and enjoying it and learning a lot. So Father-Son still has some openings. Please sign up ASAP. You can get your comments and questions and we can address that for you on the webinar. Then we have, in August, we have our radionics workshop here in St. Joseph. Again, we have several people already signed up.
A lot of people signed up.
Yes, and of course we're making you machines individually for that. So we
need time to do that.
Yes, so if you want to come, this will not be one that you can really sign up for last minute. Please register at ASAP so your machine is here waiting for you. And then you have some overseas events happening.
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you want to speak on that or not?
I could. London, August 28th to September 3rd. Karpacz, Poland, September 4th to the 8th. Trier, Germany and Luxembourg, September 9th to the 12th. Istanbul, September 13th to 16th. Amman, Jordan, September 16th to 20th. And then one day in Qatar.
Okay, so we do have some early bird specials on the website. For some of them are the seminars and some of them are for personal consultations, and I know some of them are sold out, and I've been home long enough to look at the website to see what's sold out and what's still available. So you can purchase some of the tickets through our site. So please, if you're interested in these events, you want to go and get signed up right away because they're not going to be available for much longer. They're going fast.
Yeah, and then's the conference.
Then October, of course, is our conference, again here in St. Joseph, Michigan, Hidden Histories and Mysteries, Digging Deeper. And then you're going to be traveling again.
Yes, so then October 15th is in Warsaw, Poland. October 16th is Wrocław, which is a TV show. October 17th to 22nd is Poznan, Poland. October 23rd to 28th is Berlin. October 28th to November 2nd is Singapore. November 2nd and 3rd is Bali. And then November 15th or so, I go back to Italy.
In the northern part.
Northern part.
So these I don't think are posted on the website
I
yet.
don't know. It's supposed
Yeah.
to.
Those are not yet. So those will be coming. Those are forthcoming. So
Are these
please look
first
for
ones
them.
posted?
Yeah, those are posted, and that's why I was telling them about the early bird special. But these are not. This second group is not posted yet. So now that I'm back, we'll be starting to get
And then
those
the
on.
January
And
class.
then of course we have our January.
Which are already people signing up. So if you
Yes.
want to be here, you got to sign up now.
Yeah, Oversoul, Hyperspace Oversoul Extravaganza is our week-long
When
class.
is it? Do you know what time in January?
I do, but I don't have it with me. But it's on the site. And of course that you need to sign up via Patricia, customer support at expansions.com. And that's a fantastic class. We do that every year. It's our, it's our huge class where you come and you learn what we do. We work with you. We answer your personal questions, and we give you what you need to move on for the year. Excuse me. Now I also want to remind you that we do have, amongst all of this, 2 or 3 days with Stewart still left for this year.
Yeah, I want a day with me.
Yeah.
I need a day with me.
So anyway, we have people that come for 1 day. We have people 3 days, 5 days.
Weeks.
Well, usually we limit it to a week because that's really all you can take of Stewart.
Yeah, it's really.
You don't want it
It's all I could take of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you're interested in that, remember you need to get signed up because the days for 2015 are just about gone, and then we'll be looking into 2016,
Yeah,
which
and I
will
have
be
a very
here.
heavy schedule in 16,
Yeah.
so
It's possible we might not even
I
have
might
any
even be any,
days. We might
yeah.
not have days for with Stewart in 2016. We'll just have to see how the schedule goes. But
yeah. 'Cause,
anyway,
I mean, after the January class, I have the tours to Africa, China, Japan, Taiwan, UK. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I don't know when I'll be home.
yeah. Well, anyway, so we have some busy things that are happening, and lots of information for you. Please be sure and join our website as a member, and also please be sure to like our Facebook page.
Especially like me.
And we look forward to visiting with you in person, online.
Are you going to be doing any more food podcasts? Because
You're hungry?
yeah.
Well, I'm sure I will. But I just got home, so I have to think about it yet.
Yeah, yeah. You know, when she got home, she came over and she hugged me and started crying. I'm like, oh, it's okay, Jen. She says, no, I miss Italy. Thanks.
Anyway, it's always good to be home. I look forward to going back, and in fact, I'm putting together in my mind at least a tour to the
Waldensian territory.
to Waldensian territory in northern Italy, but I'm not sure if it'll be 2016 or 2017, but it's on my list. So with that said, that's all I have.
That's all I have too. So we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.